Courtney Love. What is there to say about her that hasn't already been said? Whether it be her rebellious streak of televised antics, an array of diss tracks that are allegedly about her, or her highly publicized marriage, there is no denying that Courtney Love is one of the most controversial and polarizing figures in rock history. But she is also one of the most influential. Her work is revered by many, especially women and queer people of all ages who have gone through any form of trauma, and I was undoubtedly one of those people. I was a pretty angry teenager growing up. I had a pretty good life compared to most people, but I also severely lacked an outlet to channel my prepubescent anger. And you can't exactly immerse yourself in a local music scene when you're a broke teenager living in the suburbs. So my way of coping was digging through my dad's old vinyl collection and going on the internet, and devour hours upon hours of music that I hadn't heard before, from The Smiths to Killing Joke and David Bowie. After discovering Pretty on the Inside, produced by Kim Gordon of Sonic Youth fame, I wasn't sure what to make of it at first. I was fed all these lies growing up by my grandmother that a lady was supposed to act a certain way, and hearing these earth-shattering screams coming from a woman's voice was such an unfamiliar sensation, but also extremely cathartic to hear. Especially since I couldn't exactly relate to most of the overt male aggression in punk, so I was sold. And hearing Live Through This was a life-changing moment for me. I have always thought that Love's songwriting and lyrical prose is criminally underrated and underappreciated. Can we just take some time to unpack some of the couplets on Live Through This? There's obviously the incredible She Walks on Me, which goes, "Geeks do not have pedigrees or perfect punk rock resumes or anorexic magazines. It smells like Grrrl, it smells like Grrrl." I mean, who comes up with that? It sounds like it could have been plucked from a Kathy Acker novel. And there's also the iconic "Someday You Will Ache Like I Ache" on Doll Parts. Someday you will ache like I. On the song Plump, she satirizes the media's attempts to paint herself and Kurt Cobain as irresponsible parents with the first verse. She clearly wasn't blind to what the media or the public had to say about her, and she wasn't afraid to taunt them and poke fun. And at the same time, it references her custody battle with her daughter Frances and the pain that caused her. The song is also jam-packed with deliberately ugly, earth-shattering screams, and the lyrics are so visceral it's almost icky but emotionally gratifying and honest. Now, obviously, I wasn't familiar with pregnancy, but I definitely felt rage and emotional and physical trauma in my life, which made me emotionally attached to this song. On the chorus, she references the poet Anne Sexton. In the verses, "I'm eating you, I'm overfed, your milk's in my mouth and it makes me sick," which is a reference to Sexton's poem The Battle of the Lonely Masturbator, with lines that go, "They are eating each other, they are overfed, at night alone I marry the bed." Love takes these couplets and twists them, making the milk in question about her alleged heroin abuse and how it may have affected her child in utero. And what the rest of the songs lack in poetic cohesion, they more than make up for in unbridled rage and honesty. Listen to the emotional fervor on "I Think That I Would Die." Fuck you! Her lyrics are severely underappreciated, and it's evident how much of her blood and guts she poured into her albums and her writing. When you look at the liner notes of Live Through This, the sole writers in the credits are Love herself and Eric Erlandson, showing how hands-on she was in the process. And the honest and unfiltered emotional transparency and storytelling has always been a large component of her songwriting. Even on tracks like Teenage Whore, where she tells the story of a young woman getting kicked out of her home by her mother. I've seen your repulsion and it looks real good on you. People can come after Courtney and they can scrutinize her public behavior all they want, but regardless of what you may think, Courtney is a legend whose music has done so much for so many people who have ever felt othered or ostracized from their communities and loved ones. She certainly helped me through the most isolating and turbulent time in my life, and it's always disappointed me that the industry and the public in general has been somewhat apathetic or reluctant to give her her flowers. This is why it made me so happy to see her receive the Icon Award this year at the NME Awards, because she deserves the recognition for her work and what she's put out there. She's done so much for so many. She's an amazing songwriter, fashion icon, and all-around legend, and she will always be revered in my eyes.